Good morning, evening, or afternoon, everybody. It's Kaghoe coming at you with another video. So today, I wanted to take the time to cover the new High Warlord PvP weapons. While rank 14 is available right now in SOD, you are unable to get it because it takes 3 weeks of grinding at max honor cap. And we have not gotten to the 3rd week, but it is unlocked, and it is a change that few of you have pointed out to me. So I wanted to take the time to give PvP a little love, go over some of the new stuff, and hype it up, because it's just some aspect of the game that I don't really talk about or cover enough, and I know a lot of people do it. So, but before we get into the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Everything you guys do helps my channel grow, helps me get discovered, and helps me help as many people as possible, which is the entire point of my channel. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So I am going to switch it over here and look at the PvP stuff just in a moment. As you can see, I am rank 7, which means I am allowed to enter this hall where we could look at the weapons normally. However, the weapons are not on the vendor, which is really weird because you would think I'd be able to see them since I can see the Warlord gear that is on the gear vendor, but I can't look at the weapons directly, so we're going to have to go to Wowhead for that. But I just want to point out that I am almost rank 8, and I have not done any PvP this entire phase. It's simply from world PvPing with my guild when I formed the raid, which is kind of just absolutely crazy. As you can see, like, I'm just getting there with 3k honor a week and stuff just from forming raid groups and world PvP taking place, but just something really funny to point out. But anyway, let's head over to the Wowhead article, and we're going to dive into these weapon changes. So every single weapon did get a sort of revamp and tweak to be either BIS or close to BIS, and like some are really good and others are like decent. But the biggest changes are the stamina. So as we can look here, the High Warlord's two-handed X, the strength, it got 1 strength. Its attack speed got made a little slower. Its DPS is higher. And it got 61 stamina. So like 20 stamina is the biggest thing. And then you have the same critical strike chance, but what's awesome that they've added to pretty much all of these is reduce all damage taken from players and their pets by 5%. This effect cannot be combined from multiple sources, so it cannot be combined. So once you have that effect on once, you do not get any higher. So very important that you guys recognize that. Here is the High Warlord's Battle Mace. This is a healing weapon. It has 1% crit on it. It has 153 healing done and 51 spell power, and then the PvP thing, as well as it got 7 additional stam, but its int stayed the same, and its stats for whacking things don't really matter because no one's ever gonna hit someone with that. The High Warlord's Blade, it stayed the same with crit and attack power. It just got a little extra stamina, and then the effect, nothing too crazy. It did get a minor DPS increase, but I'd imagine most of these will. One of the biggest things, though, is to note that the axe, the Warlord axe speed, they upped this, which is good for warriors and pumping and hitting big hits. So that's just something super important to note when we're looking at these. Then the High Warlord's Bludgeon, this got some extra stam. They modified the crit to be just crit and spells, so it's not just melees, it's spells as well, pretty much for shamans and hunters. And then the attack power is the same, and then the PvP effect, as well as it stayed the same in slowness, but it got almost 2.5 DPS increase. The High Warlord's Cleaver here, this pretty much stayed the same, just got some stam and the effect, as well as a little bit more DPS. The speed is the same. Now the High Warlord's Crossbow, this is interesting. So it got the speed, it got the stam, it got the ranged attack power, it got the effect, but they made it a 3.3 instead of a 2.9. So this is pretty strong. No agi on it, so that kind of sucks, but really cool to see that. Now probably the biggest change is the High Warlord's Destroyer here. They really made this into sort of like a Ret Pally or two-handed Holy Pally weapon, which is really good to see because it's a super weird niche, and it's nice to see something fit into that. So they added 27 strength to this, they added more stamina, they lowered the intellect a little bit, they made it a 3.9 instead of a 3.8, as well as the DPS is up by about 3, and then we see they gave it critical for attacks and spells. They gave it 16 healing spell power, and they gave it 5% PvP reduction. So really big change. I'd like to see how that niche works out, or if it's just complete trash, which would suck to see that. Then we have the High Warlord's Greatsword. As you can see, it went from 3.8 speed to 3.9 speed. A lot more stamina, 1 more strength, and it got the crit to spells and attacks, not just the normal one, and the PvP effect as well. Then we got the High Warlord's Left Claw, which is pretty much the exact same. It just got a little bit more stamina and the effect, and then obviously the spells and attacks. Then we got a High Warlord's Pig's Poker. So this is pretty much for the druids out there, I think, or hunters, because it's a completely new one. And as you can see, we got 27 energy, 47 stam, 2% crit with attacks, and then the 358 bear attack power, which is really, really powerful. And this reduces, and the PvP reduction. Then we have the original polearm, which is strength and stamina, and then the 1% crit. This one has 1 more strength, 20 more stamina, 3.9 attack speed, as well as 3 DPS increase, and then it has the 1% crit, which is now attacks and spells. Pretty much that's universal. Anytime we see that, that's always going to be a change. And then the attack power for cats and bears. So like you have a strength one and you have an agi one, which is really cool to see that implemented. Then we have the High Warlord's Pulverizer. Pretty much the same thing, guys. All of these are sort of following the same weapon stuff. If it's two-handed, it's getting 3.9, 1 strength, 20 stam, and then the crit effect and PvP. The Quick Blade here is the same thing as we saw, just a little extra stamina, a little extra DPS, and going through all of them. Now, there aren't really many changes. A big change, actually, is the shields right here. The shield is really different, and it has much more stamina added to it, as well as a higher block rating, higher armor. And this effect, when struck in combat, has a 20% chance of inflicting 35 to 65 nature damage to the attacker, and that is up from the 5%. So like you can really use it sort of like a Thorns build as a shaman tank here in SOD and make a lot of use out of that, especially with a lot of the AQ damage reflex as well. So something to point out there. Then the High Warlord's Spellblade. Now this is equivalent to the AQ dagger, casting dagger, but they made it even better. So as you can see, you got more stam, more ints, 1% crit, and 81 spell power. Definitely way more than what it was. The crit's the same, but 9 more spell power added to it. So just a big stam one, and then the PvP effect as well. Just going through all these, pretty much the next one I want to cover is going to be the tomes. So like the tomes definitely got just more spell power, more stamina, a little less int added, and then they took away the spirit on that one, and then they made this one healing and damage, as well as they made this one just straight spell power. So love to see those changes. Then we have the High Warlord's Staff. Now this one's close to the Nefarian Staff right now. It just has more stam and less int, and then it has the 2% crit and 81 spell power. Now before we go any further, there are some even additional changes that I want to cover right here. With this was updated even quicker. They gave a spellcasting shield, so you can get stam, int, and then that power. I'm not sure if that's as good as the Molten Core one, but you just love to see that. Then we have the same thing with this one-handed mace, going in line with all the others. The hacker, same thing, one-handed weapons, getting the literal same treatment that they have. A little more DPS, a little more stamina, everything else the same. But those are the weapon breakdowns. I wanted to just sort of highlight those changes, show you guys them, and, you know, spend a little time covering the PvP side of things, because it's a part of the game that I don't really do too much on SOD, so I wanted to show you guys all that fun stuff. We might actually do the grind in Fresh, because that PvP gear is really good, and it will, you know, give me something to do and explore a new aspect of the game that I have neglected for a while. I always started off with the best hopes, and I'm gonna grind, I'm gonna get there, and then I just get bored of just AV and all the AV stuff that I do, and then I'm just like, ugh, this feels terrible. But anyway, guys, I truly hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, I'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Hey you. Yes, you. Are you still there? Well, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this entire video and making it to the end here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out the other videos about World of Warcraft listed in these playlists down below. And thank you again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.